Hey guys, today I'm showing you how I make some gems for cosplays. This is a really easy method. I used it to make the gems on my Rosalina crown and brooch that I wore at Comic-Con this year, and it was a lot simpler than trying to resin cast them. That's the final one that I'll be making in the video. As you can see, you can pretty much see yourself in the back of it. Back doesn't look too good, but it's getting glued down so it won't matter. First thing you're going to need is the actual base for the gem, which is a clear glass cabochon. These are flat on the back. They're available in a wide range of sizes. You can get them really cheap on eBay, or you can find them in a local art store for a couple of dollars. Next thing you're going to need is some clear acrylic paints. I used some by Tamiya, which I really loved. They came out so glossy and so clear. They've got a big range of colours. These were the three I needed for Rosalina, but they also do green, orange. You can get some other colours in other brands. You'll obviously need a paintbrush. I used just a flat head, fairly wide, to paint the backs of the gems. You'll need a pencil to mark, and some scissors, just craft scissors, not fabric scissors. You also need a super glue. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because a lot of cyanoacrylate glues will go foggy and screw up your gems. My tube did split, but this is a Zap Glue. I'll link it down the bottom. I didn't get any fogging up on my gems. You could actually barely see where the glue was. And the final piece you'll need is some super reflective scrapbooking paper. It's reasonably thin. I got it in an art shop and it wasn't very expensive either. It does scratch super easily, so you need to be a little bit careful storing it though. So, with all of our materials aside, I'll show you how I made these. So first thing you're going to want to do is taking some of your acrylic paint on your brush, put a drop of paint on the brush and drop that onto the back of the gem. That's the flat side. So you don't actually want to paint it on, you more want to drop it on. You could almost use an eyedropper or a pipette for this and spread it around in a really thick layer. I'm doing it this way to avoid any brush strokes that I'd get if I painted it on like a regular paint. If you get any on the outside, make sure to wipe it off while it's still wet. These paints are a bit harder to remove because they are hobby paints. But if you leave the paint on the outside, you're going to lose that nice glassy sheen from the glass cabochon. Keep spreading that paint around and wiping any excess off the edges as you find it. You do want a really thick layer of paint, but you don't want it to be dripping and running. Spread it right to the edges, just not going over the edge. The cabochon almost has a little lip, so it's really easy to actually get it on that edge. Now that I've covered the whole thing, I'm looking at it for any little air bubbles that have formed while I'm dropping the paint on. These do show up on the final piece, so it's really important to pull them off while the paint's still really wet and you're not going to destroy the surface. So how I do this is I pretty much pull my brush across from the air bubble to the edge, pulling the air bubble off the gem and away. Again, wiping off any excess until I'm happy with it, making sure there's no air bubbles left, and that's pretty much done. Once the gem is completely dry, you're going to take your silver paper and find a place on the paper that's not too scratched or damaged, because that will show through on the final gem. Then trace around your gem on the back, tracing the inner edge, so just inside that lip on the edge of the cabochon. Hang on for the ride. I promise I'll crash without her there. Cut out your backing with your regular scissors. Some slightly smaller would probably be much easier to use. Gotta be something more than this in a life full of exits and entrances. I know the way this plays out, but I couldn't find the words to tell you. And you thought that every time she would never tell a lie, but believing a liar is feeding the fire. There you go, back of the gem. Now you want to take a bit of cloth. I use my shirt because it's a nice soft material, and just wipe the back of the gem, make sure there's no fingerprints or smudges, the others are going to show up. Do a quick test fit, make sure the paper is not too big, nothing sticking out the sides, because that will show up and ruin the appearance. Now you're going to take your super glue and a toothpick so you can get a really small amount, or if you don't have a blocked really old gross nozzle, just squeeze it out of the tube. Using a tiny bit of super glue, put a dot on 4 edges, not really corners or round, but evenly spaced 4 little points around the circle. If you've got a bigger circle, you might need to do more. If you've got a really tiny circle, you could probably get away with 2, but just on the edge, tiny dots of glue. Put the cap on that so it doesn't go everywhere, and then press the cabochon down on top of the glue. Make sure you really push down on those glue points, because that'll spread the glue out. You'll get a better hold and you won't get visible patches of glue. Make sure you position the paper right, it's not sticking out on any edge. Push it over if it is. And I find it helps to push down from the back as well to get it stuck down. And that's it. Once you're happy with the glue, let it dry and you can attach it to your project. You've got one shiny, really easy, really cheap gem.